Well, there is now an 11th scientist with connections to top secret government secrets who has died or gone missing within the last 4 years under mysterious conditions. And conspiracy theories are ballooning online. President Trump even addressing the ongoing mystery yesterday, confirming the U.S. government is looking into it.
Well, I hope it's random, but we're going to know in the next week and a half. I just left a meeting on that subject, so pretty serious stuff, but we're going to be hopefully, I don't know, coincidence, if you whatever you want to call it, but some of them were very important people, and we're going to look at it over the next decade.
What are we getting wrong about this? Why should we keep looking at it?
Well, look, anytime you have experts in the national security arena either disappearing or in some cases dying prematurely and not necessarily a natural way, we have to look at this very closely.
Oh yeah, Diddy got a podcast.
That's right, everybody. Over the past year and a half, we have had 11 American scientists who specialize in UFO research and nuclear research who have either gone missing or have unalived themselves or come up unalived. And surprise, surprise, I don't believe that that's actually what happened. And in today's episode, we're going to do a deep dive into this situation. I'm going to explain to you all how and why I believe these are actual rituals that are taking place, because the number 11 is actually not the official number. The number is actually 13, or at least in America, because when you include two prominent researchers that weren't exactly scientists who have also come up either missing or unalived themselves, with one of them being a guy by the name of David Wilcock.
Well, the twists just keep coming. 2 more people are linked to the mysterious web of dead or missing American scientists and researchers, bringing the total number to 13. The FBI is now reviewing the death of NASA nuclear engineer Joshua LeBlanc, who was killed in a fiery car crash last July after he went missing without his phone and wallet. Also under review and newer scrutiny tonight is the death of David Wilcock, a paranormal UFO researcher and writer whose death was ruled a suicide. We're also learning that several scientists from China have also turned up dead too. Joining me now is NewsNation national security contributor Tracy Walder. Great to see you, Tracy. So let's start with the 13 American cases.
And for those of you that are not familiar or may do not have a clue who David Wilcock is or his work, we're going to go over and take a read to this here. As it says here, UFO researcher David Wilcock, 53, reportedly was unalived by unaliving himself on April 20th, 2026 in Netherlands, Colorado. Deputies responded to a mental health call near Ridge Road. He unalived himself before they could intervene. And then it says here, a person by the name of Anna Paulina Luna. I want you all to remember that name. Anna Paulina Luna confirmed his passing, but family coroner confirmation is pending. So this person was able to confirm that he passed away even before his family or the coroner could. And that's going to be especially important once we dig into who David Wilcock was, the things that he studied. And again, for those of you that are not familiar, I'm going to play a couple of clips so that you all could sort of get up to date, be more familiar with the things that he believed, which is pretty consistent and along the lines with many of the things that we've been talking about on this channel for more than 6 years now.
We believe that they are the descendants of gods, that they are the chosen, that they are God's special people, that we are delusional, and that the true creator is this wisdom principle that they think of as Lucifer. That wisdom principle gave us ancient mystery school teachings, and that the enemy, which they call Adonai, the adversary, which we would call the Christian God, came to try to defeat them. Then they even take it a step further and they look at texts like the Bible and they say that where it says in the end times that God will take the money from the wicked and restore it to the just, that we as a planet are the wicked and they are the just. So this is how they justify their financial corruption. They don't believe that we deserve the money. In fact, they believe that if they did not dominate us and if they did not control us and play all these games, that we left to our own devices would destroy our planet. So in some twisted rationale, they believe they are saving the earth. They believe humans are bad for the environment. We cause pollution, so they have to reduce population. Then they seed that into movies like The Matrix, where Agent Smith says that that humans are like a virus on the planet. This is one of a variety of ways in which they will usually embed their teachings into the villain. I learned from whistleblowers from the Cabal itself is that they have to work within something they call the rules. And this is very, very important. The rules are a body of spiritual principles that they must follow in order to be allowed to exist. Now, what do I mean by allowed to exist? I mean that they are aware that there are benevolent forces that will prevent them from achieving their goals unless we give them permission to enslave us. Ultimately, the universe is intelligent, alive, and conscious, and it is benevolent. It is a benevolent consciousness. That consciousness does not allow the negative to succeed unless it is invited. So the Cabal has made a science, a very elaborate science, out of studying these arcane, occult, magical principles that allow them to get away with what they do. So they have to put out everything that tells you who they are in music videos, in these Super Bowl halftime shows, the Grammy Awards ceremonies. They're out there showing you the truth. This is what people are going to have so much trouble with once disclosure happens, is that these people actually practice black magic, and they are very, very good at it.
And nobody should be shocked about this, right? Because these are all the things that we've been talking about on this channel for a number of years. When you look at things that are more recent that we've covered on the channel, like Jay-Z. Jay-Z not only just gave an interview where he addressed some of the most heinous accusations against him alongside P. Diddy. He not only decided to address this in the interview when speaking with even though he was interviewed by a child who really wouldn't give him much pushback, which was by design, which was also a Freemasonic interview, as in they was doing the black and white and the duality with the hats and the backgrounds. They was changing colors throughout the interview. Literally a part of this interview, Jay-Z literally does a photo shoot where he's doing one-eye symbolism, and he's using this mask that has its historical and ritualistic meaning. That, by the way, was not anything in reference to African or black power. That's not what that mask was about. He's doing the hand symbols, literally telling us, communicating to us in real time, like he's done it throughout his entire career, throughout his music videos and his other interviews, who he is and what he represents.
Let's get into this interview, which I thought was hilarious. Right off bat, they told you exactly who he is. People are trying to break down why he had this Congolese mask and how it meant for the struggle or how it meant for the culture. They don't care about who they are as far as their identity. They're never going to tell you who they truly are or who we truly are. But they know, and they chose a side to be subjugated. He got his hands in the pyramid here, he got his hands in the pyramid here for the photo shoot, his thumbs in the pyramid here for the photo shoot, and of course you see the Eye of Horus or the Eye of Ra, which is the one-eye symbolism that is all connected to Freemasonry or Prince Hall Freemasonry. As you can see here, it's all esoteric knowledge. They go from black and then they go from white in one 35-minute video. The interviews wearing a black hat with a white background, then he wears a white hat and a black background, just like the floor in York Rite Scottish Rite and Prince Hall Freemason lodges is the checkerboard flag. So the very first part of the interview, he wanted to jump in and what happened to him as being accused. He didn't really go into it because the interviewer was selected for a particular reason. He wasn't going to give him any hard questions where he couldn't handle it. But all you have to see is what he's been propagating throughout his career. I mean, no one is out here really wearing "Do What Thou Wilt," which is a quote by Aleister Crowley.
When you look at Kanye West's recent music video featuring Travis Scott called Father, right? They're sitting in a church. You got Michael Jackson in the back pew. You have this person carrying the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. You have this extraterrestrial UFO being, a mask that he's putting on. You got the flying saucer outside of the church. All of these things are ritualistic. You say, well, why do they do this? Because they have to tell us who they are in real time. Otherwise, they wouldn't be allowed to do so. When you look at my more recent video a day and a half ago with Joe Rogan, right? Joe Rogan is one of those people that's convinced so many of us that he could be trusted, right? Because early on, he entertained these ideas of conspiracy theories, and he's just like one of us, and he's down to earth, and nothing is off topic, and he's calling people out when he is what they would call limited hangout or controlled opposition. He was playing his role. And when you look at Joe Rogan, surprise, surprise, when you look throughout his career, he's doing the one-eye symbolism just like all these other celebrities. Why are they doing these photo shoots? Why are they doing the same hand signs and one-eye symbolism? Because they have to. Some of them will tell you, well, that's the photographer. They'll tell us to do certain things and we don't know what it means. Stop it. Stop it. All of you all are doing the same things, and all of you all are seeing success after you do it. That's not a coincidence. And then when you look at Joe Rogan's career early on, he's even given us reason to believe that he's compromised in other ways, sexually, as far as sexuality wise. And I'm just going to leave it there because he has some weird things that he's said and done, and the way he's behaved, and it even looked like he's worn lipstick in some of his scenes is very strange with Joe Rogan. So my ultimate point is we've been talking about this in music videos and in Hollywood and the media for the longest. All of these people are part of the same club. And even though we've heard this for so many years, it's important that we prove it time and time again so that those that still think that this stuff is fake, they can become awake or aware as well. But back on topic, I also want to show you all where David Wilcock said himself and acknowledged himself that he was well aware that there are scientists and prominent researchers in his same field area, right? Expertise, if you will, that was going missing.
I'm excited to be here. Every day that I have on earth is a gift and a blessing, and I'm very grateful for that because, frankly, people are disappearing. Scientists are going missing. Now they're saying they're going to investigate this. The president himself is saying they're going to look into this and see if anything's going on. It's a little bit scary. I got to say, it's a little bit scary, but you guys knew that I might still show up even though it was last minute and I've had a really rough week. That's kind of like every week, but somehow we keep on making it through all of this.
And it's also important to note that he stated in his last YouTube live video where he was covering the infamous, Truth Social post from Donald Trump, where he's appearing to present himself as if he's Jesus. That made a lot of noise. We covered that on this channel as well. I do not believe that was him presenting himself as Jesus. Instead, I believe it was him presenting himself as the high-level magician, which is a tarot card. And I also want to state that even the Illuminati card game that we've covered on this show, where it quote unquote predicted, it didn't predict anything. It's just predictive programming. This is all a part of the plan. It showed us 40 years ago that the plan was to get Trump into office. And it also showed us a lot of other things as well. You say, well, why would they do that? Because the creator of that show is a Freemason, and they have to show us in plain sight what it is that they're going to do, because they believe that that's the only way that they can get permission to actually follow through without it, because we're giving consent, even if we're not aware that we're doing it. Right? Not to mention that he even states here, I plan on living not in a mindset where I want to unalive myself at all. Just concerned about what happens when you prove God is real. But also in that YouTube live that I was just mentioning, he speaks about how he's not in that mindset. He said he plans on living. He's looking forward to his future. Yet on April 20th, we get the news that he passed away. Something else that's very interesting was that he was very good friends, or according to her, they were very good friends. He was very good friends with an Epstein survivor, a woman by the name of Julia. Right here it states Epstein survivor Juliette Rose Bryant. She says, David Wilcock was my friend. He was an amazing man, a genius who was also very kind. I'm so sad and shocked that he has been found unalive. I'm devastated about this. David Wilcock was not in a mindset where he wanted to unalive himself. Neither am I. David's work will live on forever. And again, for the record, I don't know if I'm not here to state that I agree with everything that David Wilcock said. However, he did say a lot of things that I did agree with, right? And there were several things that he got wrong. And a lot of people was not the biggest fan of David Wilcock when he was alive. I do want to state that for the record, because he made several quote unquote predictions that did not come to fruition, such as he stated once that the white hats were dismantling the deep state many years ago. And we have yet to see that transpire. He also stated that the Galactic Federation is dismantling the deep state. He states that the ETs, or extraterrestrial beings, are coming to save us. And I personally do not believe that there's a such thing as aliens. I believe that these things are fallen angels, which, if you want to use that language interchangeably, just make it clear what it is that you believe, because we all know that we've been led to believe that aliens are some sort of other being that may come and invade Earth at some point that is completely separate or removed from God himself. He also claimed in 2020 that there will be 3 days of darkness followed by mass arrests, and that never took place. Well, before we move on to the scientists, I do want to state that there was a situation that happened in Mexico that is eerily similar to the David Wilcock story. And we all know that the powers that be, a lot of their rituals tend to happen on the same day, and they have a lot of synchronicity. Because on April 20th, a guy by the name of Julio Caesar, who was 27 years old, he climbed at the top of a pyramid, and the name of this pyramid is called the Pyramid of the Moon in Mexico City. And once he got to the top, he literally fired down at the people below, and he struck 13 people, the same amount of people that have went missing as it pertains to scientists and researchers. And that's going to be relevant here in just a moment, because again, the name of this pyramid is called the Pyramid of the Moon. Now, remember earlier, I told you that the very first person to report on David Wilcock going missing is a woman by the name of Anna Paulina Luna. Anna Paulina Luna. And the reason why that's weird, first and foremost, it's weird that you report this before the police and before its own family could, or even the coroner. But it's also weird because your last name is Luna, as we know that Luna literally means moon. It's also important to note that April 20th fell on a Monday. Monday, when you're talking about people that practices quote unquote black magic, they believe that Monday is the same as Moon Day, right? Well, outside of the fact that the president of Mexico City literally stated just 2 days before this situation took place at the Pyramid of the Moon, she literally stated that she worships multiple gods, with two of those gods being strikingly similar to the god Baal of the scriptures, of the Holy Scriptures of the Bible, where that god literally required you to make sacrifices. And in her speech, she mentioned the Pyramid of the Sun, which is literally connected right to the Pyramid of the Moon.
Porque hay memorias que no se conquistan y raíces que nunca se arrancan. Vengo de la Pirámide del Sol. Vengo de Tlaloc, de Huitzilopochtli, de Coatlicue. Vengo de una historia milenaria que no es pasado. Es presente vivo en nuestras comunidades, en nuestras lenguas, en nuestra forma de mirar el mundo.
And just 2 days later, 27-year-old Julio Cesar would actually follow through and actually fire upon multiple people, where one of those people actually passed away. And this also happens to be the same day that David Wilcock lost his life. And many scientists, including scientists in China, continue to go missing. I don't know how the president to this day can call this a potential coincidence when you have some of the top scientists in the world. One of these scientists literally on the brink of introducing some technology that I believe they said is anti-gravity. But something else I wanted to cover was that one of these scientists that actually passed away, you have some people stating that they don't believe that she passed away. And then another scientist seemed to almost predict or feared that she was going to lose her life. Her father came out and stated that he did not believe that there was anything suspicious about her death.
National correspondent Nancy Liu is live in Los Angeles. So Nancy, what do we know about this possible 11th case?
Well, Nicole, just before her death in 2022, Amy Eskridge had announced plans to present her groundbreaking work with anti-gravity technology. The 34-year-old had been openly experimenting in the field and founded a research company called the Institute for Exotic Science to establish a more public space for developments in anti-gravity work. Her death from a supposed self-inflicted gunshot wound has long been questioned, since she had expressed that her life was in danger at the time. Eskridge worked closely with her father. And according to NASA, Richard Eskridge is a retired engineer whose many projects included novel work on a system to propel a spacecraft with high-speed plasmoids. Well, I spoke with him briefly today, and he dismissed any link between the death of his daughter to the 10 other scientists who've mysteriously died or gone missing over the past few years. All had links to government secrets and programs tied to military defense and UFOs. Richard Eskridge, he did not want to be interviewed, but he told me on the phone, scientists die also.
Right? So, okay, fine. He states that scientists pass away just like other humans do as well. But another one of her friends stated that he actually did not agree with the father, and he has no reason to believe, or had no reason to believe, that she was in that mindset.
I actually spoke to Amy Eskridge. I don't think she herself. I do think there's a very high likelihood she was murdered. I've got a very good friend who was a very, very good friend of hers, who was being sent emails by her in the months prior to her death, where she genuinely feared that somebody was trying to hurt her or kill her. And I've got photographs, harrowing photographs of burns that she allegedly suffered from some kind of directed energy weapon that she believes was directed at her from the street through the window of the office that she was working in. And they are harrowing images showing burns on her hands, where literally there's a red mark that starts just from her hands, and it's as if her hands across a keyboard were being irradiated with something. I do think that the instance of the Amy Eskridge case is quite extraordinary. There's a whole lot of unexplained stuff The difficulty is that her body was apparently cremated shortly after her death. Her family, and I have no wish to cause her family any hurt, her family do, I understand, believe that she committed suicide. I don't want to speak for the family or purport to speak for the family because it's always a tragedy when anyone loses a loved one. The terrible thing is there was no full coronial inquiry. I did make inquiries with local police about why there wasn't going to be a full coronial inquiry, and it was because of the finding of suicide. I feel very sad about the Amy Eskridge death. She was a brilliant woman. She was, at times, unstable. She was a big drinker, but I don't think she killed herself. I truly don't think she killed herself. I'm sorry if that upsets the family, but I think she was a wonderful human being. She was making claims that she was making advances in anti-gravitic technology and propulsion systems, and of course her father is, I'm not sure if he still is, a senior NASA engineer. It's a great tragedy that she was lost. She was a beautiful, brilliant young woman. And yes, she's one of multiple scientists I have spoken to or am speaking to who purport to be working on alternative propulsion systems.
But not only that, another one of the scientists actually was questioned in one of her seminars back in 2019 if she was aware or afraid of the idea of going missing. And I want you all to take a listen.
What about the innovator who's afraid of disappearing?
Well, that's a whole other problem. I think doing it in the public is better in that case. That's a different...
It still doesn't mean it won't disappear. Even if you do it in the public, it still don't mean that the inventor won't disappear for lots of reasons.
Like Ming Lee.
Mm-hmm.